All right, Mr. Barner, if you'll have a seat right there in the chair, or turn around to be sworn. All right, sir. Please sit closely to that microphone and speak loudly and clearly.
Everybody is testifying against Ksoo. They're getting on the stand, raising their hand, swearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. His father is testifying against him. His friends that allegedly participated in the crime is getting on the stand, raising their hand, pointing Ksoo out.
Right now, defense attorneys are cross-examining a star witness in the trial of two suspected gang members. Both men are charged with the murder of a local rapper over a diss track. Charles McCormick Jr. was shot and killed outside an Arlington shopping plaza in 2020. Actually, Jack Sebastian Folkley is live outside the courthouse in Madison. Both of the defense attorneys used a similar argument.
That's right, Ben. They both argued that Dominique Barner, the witness, was motivated by a plea deal he had with the state to testify against Hakeem Robinson and Leroy Whitaker Jr. A man turning against his former friends who are facing life in prison without the possibility of parole in the 2020 murder of a local rapper over a diss track. Hakeem Robinson and Leroy Whitaker Jr. are charged with first-degree murder in the killing of Charles McCormick Jr., also known as Lil Buck. Whitaker is also charged with burglary with assault or battery and home invasion robbery. Dominique Barner was also arrested, but he reached a plea deal with the state and agreed to cooperate and testify against Robinson and Whitaker. He was also arrested and charged for another murder. The plea deal for Barner applied for both cases. His deal means he could serve as little as 20 years in prison, and this is something both defense attorneys didn't hesitate to bring up.
It gets different with first-degree murder, doesn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were fully aware of that difference, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
So you knew that both of those murders, if you didn't come to some kind of deal, were going to go to first-degree murder, right?
Right.
So in August of 2020, you decided, I'm going to look out for me, right?
Correct.
If you testify that it was not Hakeem Robinson that was the shooter, you don't get the deal. If you say it was someone else, you don't get a deal. Right?
Right.
And cross-examination is still going on, and testimony will resume on Monday.
For a time cut, the police are even changing evidence to make it fit their narrative.
When I got to that fence, that subject was jumping a fence in the rear of the residence.
So your testimony is not that you jumped out of your vehicle, that you gave chase, that you actually cut through somebody's home and you chased him through one backyard.
I went through a residence to the backyard of that same residence that the subject jumped the fence, and I jumped the fence. The question in reference to what I put out on the radio, that video that had that marker for that vehicle, I was wrong in my height description. I was putting out just information for those that were coming. That was absolutely a mistake.
Officer, I'm not asking you to explain your testimony.
Well, you asked me about the height, so I was giving you...
I need you to focus on my question.
Okay.
Okay? And we're talking about now fences and you chasing him.
Okay.
You jumped out of your vehicle. You chased him through one backyard, correct?
Yes.
And you saw him jump a fence in that backyard.
Yes.
And then you went up to that fence yourself, right?
I went up to the first fence, and I jumped the rear fence.
Right. So you, as a trained officer, you see somebody jump a fence, sort of like this podium. I'm not saying it's the same height, but you go up to it. So you have a point of reference where you can say, I saw this guy, this shooter, next to this fence, and I walked up to it myself. The question hasn't been asked.
Okay.
You had a point of reference, correct? The fence.
No, I didn't have a point of reference.
You just said that you saw him jump over the fence. You just said...
Jumped the fence in the rear of the residence.
I understand that, but you saw, just like you can see me standing at this podium, you saw him next to that fence.
I didn't see him next to the fence. I saw him jumping the fence. At no time was he not in motion that I ever saw him. Every time I saw him, he was accelerating away from me, either just trying to avoid apprehension.
All right. Now, getting back to the apprehension situation. So again, you have a shooter that's running around neighborhoods. JSO is trying to find this person, and you can give a description of what it is you remember best. In the description that you give, BM, that stands for blackmail, right?
Yes, sir.
Gray hoodie, black sleeve, black sweatpants, right?
If I remember the black red shirt with the gray in it. Yes, sir. And the rifle, the black rifle.
You read this. There's nothing in there about a Draco-style firearm, right?
So what this tell you? If you are participating in the crime with anybody, you can't trust nobody. If you get caught, they gonna sit on a stand and point you out for that time cut, for their freedom. You can't even trust the police. The police will change the narrative and make the evidence fit their story to get the conviction. Now, we're not advocating for any wrongdoing. We're not advocating for anybody to lose their life. We're not here to say whether Ksoo is innocent or he guilty. We're gonna let the jury do that. I'm here to let you know that friend that you riding with, your big homie, that slider, that stepper, that repper, when it all come down to it, and he's sitting on that stand, after he raises his right hand, he gonna point you out to go home for that time cut.